Hello. Today you guys are going to be completing your Section 5 flipped lesson plan. So you are going to need the Section 5 notes that you guys received in class today. As you follow along in this video, be sure to copy down and fill in some of the missing words to have the Section 5 notes completed. And as you continue through the video, feel free to pause it, rewind, so that you can better understand the content. Section 5 will explore the impacts of World War I on the United States. For the first essential question, with the war over, Americans welcomed the soldiers back as heroes. In fact, parades were thrown in their honor, and a new organization that's still around today, the American Legion, was created. But their arrival was bittersweet. 2 million men now returning home to the United States from serving in World War I, they needed jobs. And in an economy that was shutting down its productions of war materials, was slowly sliding into recession. Because of the recession, products rationed during the war were in high demand, so the cost of living is going to increase. In fact, in 1919, prices rose more than 15%. Because of so many people coming back to the United States, the cost of living was getting much higher. Many workers were demanding higher wages to successfully live. More workers were joining unions and beginning strikes. Many companies were forced to raise wages during the war, but now inflation threatened to wipe out the gains that workers had made. Americans hated strikes, however, because they associated them with communism and immigrant workers. So the American communists were treated with hostility and often viewed as disloyal and morally against the American ideas. They were nicknamed Reds. The strikes of 1919 fueled fears that communists, or Reds, as they were often called, might seize power. This time period was known as the Red Scare. However, and unfortunately, in 1919, there were 3 separate incidents that were associated with the communist revolutionaries threatening American society. The first was in April, where the Postal Service intercepted more than 30 parcels containing homemade bombs addressed to prominent Americans. In May, Union members, socialists, and communists organized a parade in Cleveland to protest the jailing of Eugene Debs. And this particular parade is going to turn extremely violent, where 2 people died and about 40 people were injured. And finally, in June, 8 bombs in 8 separate cities exploded within minutes of each other throughout the United States. All 3 of these incidents in April, May, and June were suggesting a nationwide conspiracy to spread communism throughout the United States. In order to combat these communistic threats in the United States, A. Mitchell Palmer, he was the United States Attorney General at the time period, he decides to create a special division of the Justice Department to investigate and arrest people that were responsible for these attacks. Many people, such as A. Mitchell Palmer, believed that the bombings were the work of radicals trying to destroy the American way of life. So how did the United States government respond to these communistic threats in the United States? Well, first, Palmer, he is going to organize a series of raids. These were events in which his newly found organization would go into businesses and homes of immigrants and members of the Communist Party to search for anything that might be evidence to point to someone spreading these communistic ideas throughout the United States. The Palmer raids, however, ignored many civil liberties, such as having no search warrants. They mistreated people. In fact, they even jailed people for indefinite time periods without an attorney, and very, very few people had their cases go to court. The Red Scare was a time period that greatly influenced people's attitudes and made people link radicalism with immigrants and therefore caused Congress to limit immigration.